Detroit Damon Robinson presents the top edge rushers in the 2026 NFL Draft Part 2. That's right.
Let me tell you something, Jack. This is Eddie Murphy. Let me tell you something. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Damon Robinson, he the funniest, man. He the funny. He got them jokes and everything. He got the best draft. Let me tell you, Hercules, he like Hercules. What's up, everybody? It's Damon Robinson back in the house with part two of the defensive ends for the 2026 NFL Draft. So if your team is looking for a defensive end, check me out. Now we're going to go to the next. I think we got 8 more defensive ends in the 2026 draft. Last one we did 1 through 6, I think. And now we're going to do 7 through 15 or 16. So if you're looking for a defensive end, your team is looking for a defensive end in the second and third rounds, because this is a deep draft, check me out. Here we go. The next guy on our list is R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma, outside linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle. 41 on CBS, 37 on Pro Football Focus. 6'4", 240. He's got decent size. He's got good speed. He's got explosive power. He's more of a linebacker. He runs a 4.67 40. Arms are only 31.5. So he can get around the tackle. He's got great bend, flexible ankles, relentless pursuit, but he's undersized with short arms. And with that, he may not be able to hold up the anchor. He may not anchor well. He may lose leverage against the run. So once again, maybe an outside linebacker, maybe a situational rusher. But nonetheless, if you need someone to get after the quarterback with 4.67 speed, he's an excellent choice. He only had 6.5 sacks last year, but he had an injury. So we'll see how he looks on his pro day. Number 8, defensive end, TJ Parker out of Clemson. TJ Parker is a 6'4", 263-pound outside linebacker / edge. Now he's a little bit more heavier, so he may, if he gets up, at 263, he may be able to handle the run, as opposed to some of the guys who are in the 240s or 250s. But he's got the speed of a linebacker in a 4.68 40. He's got a vertical of 34, broad jump of 10, arms of 33.2. He's got great hand placement, long arms, forces fumbles, great at setting the edge, once again with that height-weight ratio. Great flexibility and can even drop off into coverage. He's an intense competitor, and he could play in a 3-4 or 4-3. I don't know if he'd be a 3-4 base end. He might be better served as a 3-4 outside linebacker. But, at 6'4", 260, he possibly can. He's right on the cusp of being able to do that. Doesn't have the quickest first step, which you don't have to. He's got limited range as a linebacker, just probably because of his weight. And he needs to improve on his counter move and improve on his tackling, which, once again, that comes with being coached up. Number 9, Malachi Lawrence, linebacker, defensive end out of UCF. Malachi Lawrence is a 6'4", 253-pound edge linebacker from Central Florida. 40 was a 4.5. Vertical was 40 inches. Broad jump 10.8. Arms 33.8. Explosive first step. Natural bend. Relentless motor. Good length. Good hand fighting technique. Very explosive athlete. The cons are, with his being a little bit lighter, struggle to anchor the base, especially when double teamed. His run defense is his weakness. Sometimes his pad height can get too high, and he may lack discipline in outside contain. He may be best suited for odd fronts or as a pass rush specialist initially. Once again, we see that a lot. That happens. But with his speed, his size, his athleticism, he'd make a heck of a situational pass rusher until he can get the rest of it down. Number 11, Gabe Jacas. He's an interesting player out of Illinois. He's got the height, the weight. He's 6'5", 260. He's once again maybe one of those better setting the edge defensive ends. He ran the 40 and 4.8. Hands are 10, arms are 34.3, and bench press 225 30 times. 6'4", 260 pounds. So this is a very strong guy. And the one good thing about this guy, I have to say, he has a wrestling background. And when you have a wrestling background, you can play that 3-4 defensive end or that 4-3 base defensive end very well because you understand leverage. So this guy, he can convert speed to power. He has great combinations and moves. Carries his weight well. He has positional flexibility, great anchor, and he can be a 4-down defensive end. Now, once again with that, not the quickest first step. And he needs to expand his rush repertoire. He needs to improve on his tackling. And he's better as a defensive end than a linebacker due to issues in coverage. So this guy's 6'4", 260. I'm not going to make him go out in space as a linebacker unless I'm doing like a zone blitzer. I got him going out there and I got a cornerback or somebody blitzing or safety blitzing or something. I'm going to put this guy headed toward the quarterback or at least headed toward the ball because that's what he's going to be best at. And he's stout. He's going to be a hold up against those tackles. So that's Gabe Jacas. He's 66 on CBS and 40 on PFF. Number 12, Joshua Josephs out of Tennessee. Joshua Josephs is a 6'3", 242-pound edge, probably more of a linebacker. Runs a 40 at 4.68, got 34-inch arms. So he's got long arms, explosive step, great pursuit, and is actually able to set the edge against the run. He's got good pass rush moves, a good football IQ, and he's good at converting speed to power. Now, the cons for Joshua Josephs out of Tennessee are that he needs more mass. He can be knocked around by double teams and chip blocks. And he's got some stiffness in his ankles, so he's not going to be able to bend around that corner as well. Inconsistent as a tackler. His sack total is lacking, and he'd probably be best initially as a situational pass rusher. But if he can set the edge, even though he's only 6'3", if he can set the edge, he might be used for a little more than that initially. Now, this next guy here, he reminds me of Darius Robinson coming out of college, maybe even higher rated, though. He looks like him, though. I mean, Mizzou has put out some pretty big, stout, athletic defensive ends. And this is Zion Young out of Missouri, 6'6", 265 pounds. Now, Zion Young, I in my initial draft, I might have had us trying to take him in the 3rd round, but I don't know if he'll be there just because he's such an athlete. He's moving up the charts, so to speak. And he's just like your prototypical base edge. 6'6", 262 pounds, 4'7", 640. Arms are 33. He's got excellent size and length. He's a prime run defender who sheds blocks well and holds the edge. He finishes with nastiness. He's got active hands. He's technical prowess and position versatility with his motor and bend make him quite an intriguing prospect for a defensive end. He lacks explosiveness and needs a better repertoire of counter moves, and his pad level can get high at times. He also had 2 off-field incidents, which I don't know what they are. Who knows? Sometimes things happen. We'll see. We'll have to find out what his character is if anything comes up. But as far as talent-wise and looking the part, this guy looks the part. Number 14 is a guy who's dropped a little bit in the past couple weeks. Romello Height out of Texas Tech. He was the other side of the David Bailey tandem at Texas Tech. So, Romello height. Actually, he might be listed as a linebacker as well, because I think that's the defense that they ran. But he is a 6'4", 250-pound outside linebacker who, or they say I have him as an edge, but he once again was more like an outside linebacker. Out of Texas Tech, 4'6", 440, vertical 39, broad jump 10.5, arms 32.3. Great first step and speed, good hand fighting, flexible ankles, relentless pursuit, great change in direction, and he's very competitive. Now, the problem with that would make him a situational pass rusher or an outside linebacker is because he's a little undersized with short arms and he's lighter. He needs to work on his run defense and tackling in space, and his pass rush is a little predictable, so he needs to add some moves, some counter moves, and some better hand fighting. So, well, actually, he's got good hand fighting. Sorry about that. He needs to add some better counter moves. So that's Romello Height out of Texas Tech. Good-looking prospect. Number 15, Derrick Moore out of Michigan. He is a linebacker / defensive end. A little bit undersized in the height at 6'3", but he's 260 pounds. He is a great rusher. And also can play outside linebacker. He ran a 4.65 40. His arms are 33.3. He's got good size and length, good pad level, keeps his hands and arms and legs moving during his rush. He's got alignment versatility because he can stand up as a linebacker or he can put his hands in the dirt, and he's a reliable tackler. Problem is, he needs some work on his run defense and counter moves. Doesn't have the fastest first step like most outside linebackers do, so he's got to rely more on power. But he can contribute immediately as a pass rush specialist. But to develop into a 4-down player, he's going to have to learn how to set the edge and defend against the run. But Derrick Moore out of Michigan, very good-looking player. I've seen some of the Lions mock, some of the drafters mock him to the Lions. I think I'd rather have this guy. If you saw my last draft, I did choose this guy. He kind of fell down a little bit, but he's coming back up because of his combine numbers. Now, Dani Sutton out of Penn State, defensive end, he's 6'6", 275, so he's a perfect size. He's a big guy who can set the edge. He ran a 4.6 340, so he's got speed. His vertical is 39. Broad jump was 10 something, almost 11, almost 11 feet. Hands 10.2, arms 33.6 at 6'6", 256 pounds. So he's got long arms, powerful lower body, great agility and effort. He's got position versatility. He can slide in on later downs and play that 3 technique or that 5 technique, something like that. He can even drop into space. He's got an effective bull rush, heavy hands, sets a firm edge, and is a great run defender. The cons for Mr. Sutton are that he needs to be more disciplined with roughing the passer penalties, and he's missed some tackles. He needs to add some moves. His first step's a little slow. His hips are a little bit tight, so he doesn't get that bend, and occasionally he has a high pad level, which happens with taller people. But this guy here, he's one of my favorite, as a second or third rounder for the Lions. That's just how I feel about him. He's got all the makings. The last one on our list, LT Overton out of Alabama. LT Overton is a base end by all intents and purposes. 6'5", 278 pounds, 4.87 40, which is cooking for his size. 10.7 hands, 33.3 inch length arms. So he's got good length, good leverage, alignment versatility. He's great at disrupting quarterbacks. He's got a high motor, and he's got good bend, especially for somebody who's almost 280 pounds. His get off is kind of slow, though, which you would expect. Pad level sometimes gets a little high. He needs to improve his hand technique, and he projects best as a 3-4 base end. But with his length, and if he could speed up a little bit or maybe lose some weight a little bit, but he's got good speed, 4.87. That's pretty good for a defensive end. But if he can get a little quicker step, he can maybe even be a 4-3 defensive end. Which, once again, more, depending on what your alignment, your team runs, you can use them. And that's kind of how you look at them. You have to look at how they would align in your with your team. So with that being said, that's it. That's all I got. That's 17 players. And then the next video time you see me, we'll be talking about cornerbacks and maybe safeties and go down the line. But happy drafting. Everybody keep on doing your little mock drafts, and check out my channel and see what you think about these guys. And this is Damon Robinson. I am out of here. Peace.